You ever hear a story so wild, so twisted, it turns everything you thought you knew upside down? Yeah, that's exactly what happened on Coronado Beach the year the Navy tried really to keep women out of the SEALs. They didn't just fail. They never even saw the real game coming. It started like every old guard story you ever heard. At 0430, fog so thick you could taste it, 24 silhouettes moved like ghosts through Pacific surf, grunting, sweating, bodies pressed to their limits except one figure, short, deliberate, the only woman anyone had seen in this training compound, Staff Sergeant Talia Veracruz. You should have seen the looks. She got somewhere between disbelief and open hostility, you know what I mean? Instructors barked at her harder. The chief wouldn't even use her rank, just Veracruz, as if stripping her of it made her easier to break. She crossed that obstacle course 2 minutes and change behind everyone, water streaming from her hair, eyes locked forward. Nobody clapped, nobody cheered. They smirked, victory for the old guard. They figured she was done, just another woman who didn't belong. What nobody saw coming was that 3 days later, while the brass from the Pentagon lined up to watch the latest demonstration of America's best, she'd already slipped out past the wire, prone on a distant ridge, custom rifle steady as bedrock, lining up a shot nobody could imagine. That's a hell of a hook, right? Every moment of that training was a test, not just for Talia, but for the men around her. She moved through the mess hall like a ghost, picked the farthest table, tuned out their stage-whispered jabs. Women's Army Corps disbanded in the 70s. All that macho bluster. Most joined in. One or two, like Lazarus, just watched, something like curiosity in their eyes. In the classroom, they tried to trip her up advanced demolition equations. Stuff not even on the schedule, but her answers came sharp. No hesitation. Details even the instructors missed. That's when the chief's smile started to fade. On the range, Talia didn't outshoot anyone she didn't miss, either. Her groupings, perfectly average. Not a single bullseye, not a single flyer. It was almost suspicious how middle of the pack she seemed, like someone aiming to blend in, not stand out. That night, as the instructors whispered behind closed doors, they wondered aloud if she was sandbagging. Something's not right. They muttered over her redacted file, more black lines than words. Why send someone like her here just to watch her fail? Next morning, drown-proofing. Candidates bound hand and foot, dropped into the pool like sacrifices. The chief's speech about water, not caring who you are, the statistics on women, and lung capacity, it was all a setup. Talia stepped forward without a flicker of fear, let herself sink, then propelled herself upward, breaking the surface for a single, measured breath. On her next ascent, Calloway, the alpha male ringleader, just happened to stick a boot out, knocking her off balance, costing her precious air. No one spoke, but everyone saw. Underwater, Talia's pulse slowed, some technique from God knows where surfaced almost 2 minutes later, longer than any of them. No gasping, no panique, just icy calm. For the first time, the room looked at her differently. Curiosity instead of contempt. But when summoned to the office at 1900 hours, soaked uniform still clinging to her skin, she found her voluntary withdrawal papers waiting. The chief, eyes smug, told her she'd never belong in the SEALs. Talia glanced at the file, her signature swift, her gaze colder than ever. "Do you wish to make a statement for the record?" they asked. She looked them dead in the eye. "No, sir." Out she went, posture perfect, doors closing quietly behind her. What happened next was the kind of thing that never makes the official record. In the barracks, the men celebrated. One giant leap for keeping women out of combat. Calloway crowed, though even his own laughter sounded hollow. Lazarus, sitting apart, wondered aloud, "You ever notice she never seemed to be trying?" No one had a good answer. Meanwhile, in her quarters, Talia packed with surgeon-like precision gear the others had never seen, a sat phone, a rifle in a custom case, a tracker with the instructor's real-time locations. Out the gate she drove, barely checked by the guards. In the dark, she called a number from memory, ghost actual to command. Phase 1 complete. New instructions came through. No tears, no drama. She didn't look back. Next day, demonstration for the Pentagon. All eyes on the range breaching, close combat, marksmanship. Suddenly, a spotter panicked. Movement in the impact zone, 2,200 meters. Chief Blackwood peered through the scope there. She was prone, rifle gleaming. Cease fire, all stations. But before security could even scramble, Talia fired. The shot traveled farther than any recruit had ever even tried. A tiny camera, hidden, exploded in a puff of sparks. The casing tumbled, sunlight flashing off a number etched into the brass. 214. Not a serial number. A kill count. Chaos. Alarms. A black SUV arrived, Special Advisor Davis from the Department of Defense. Stand down, she ordered. Staff Sergeant Vera Cruz is operating under direct authority of the Secretary. In the private briefing, she spelled it out. Talia wasn't there to join the SEALs. She was sent to evaluate them. Her orders: perform at 70%, observe, document every bias, every outdated protocol. That camera? It recorded everything. Sabotage, mockery, every time an instructor set her up to fail. Talia's count 214 confirmed eliminations was the highest of any active operator. Each brass casing, her silent report. She doesn't keep count, Davis said. We do. Each one, a mission only the highest levels approve. Why send her? Because the SEALs were failing choosing the same type of recruit, ignoring what future wars would demand. Talia's findings would drive a revolution. Instructors humbled, Blackwood could only ask, those numbers, each one necessary? Talia's mask slipped, just for a second. It's a weight, not a score. For the first time, they saw her as more than a statistic. 6 months later, the same mist curled over Coronado Beach, but everything had changed. The training still brutal, but with new layers: adaptive thinking, technology, teamwork that rewarded innovation, not conformity. Women trained alongside men. Instructors watched for sabotage as much as skill. Calloway, now wearing instructor insignia, worked under Talia's eye, reforming the culture from within. They still don't believe I tell him about your first day, he grinned. Good, she replied. The best operators are the ones nobody sees coming. Her reforms spread new standards, new priorities, security protocols rebuilt from scratch. The SEALs still produce the best, but now the best looked different, thought different. And Talia? When her secure device pinged, she shouldered her bag, nodded a silent farewell, boarded a waiting chopper. The instructors rendered a silent salute, respect earned the hard way. As the helicopter banked out over the ocean, she let herself feel the weight of 215 brass casings, missions that would never be recognized, a legacy only she could carry. Down on the beach, a new class of recruits pushed through the surf, maybe cursing the changes, maybe sensing the shift. Among them, maybe the next shadow operator someone overlooked, underestimated, ready to rewrite the rules. And that's the twist, isn't it? The whole time, the ones who thought they were evaluating her were the ones under the microscope. So, what's your take? Should we judge capability by tradition, or be ready for the game to change? Share your thoughts below. Hot's right. What's fair, and who gets to decide what strength really looks like?